Leading West End impresario is now under fire over here in the very heart of London. It's normally a man that you would associate with the mega hits, things like Hamilton, Phantom of the Opera. He is one of the most successful producers of his generation. We're talking, of course, about the brilliant Cameron Mackintosh. But what's got him in hot water right now? As ever, let me explain. Morning, nice to see you. How are you? Nice to have your company. By the way, I know we often talk about theatre on this show and it's very expensive, isn't it? Let's be honest. Wherever you're going, I sort of think you're going to support local things because the bottom line is they're just as good and they're a lot cheaper. And it's nice to give break to people who don't necessarily get the spotlight shone on them that much, But over here right now in London is an incredible thing that's just broken out. And it seems to be a thing that I'm not quite sure if they've done it simply for publicity, but whatever they've done is really, truly backfiring. You see, starting in the summer at the Noel Coward Theatre is a play called Slave Play, right? And it's all about, the slavery and all that stuff. Very worthwhile story, I'm sure. Was on Broadway, did okay, picked up a few awards. Now, starring in this particular play is none other than Kit Harington. He played Jon Snow in the mega successful Game of Thrones television series. I've never watched it myself, but I know it was incredibly popular with a lot of people. And I've met Kit on a number of occasions, very nice man. But of course, now looking to strike back after a couple of years out of the publicity limelight. As I say, this particular play is going to be at the Noel Coward Theatre, part owned, no less than by Cameron Mackintosh, the man who's brought us so many wonderful musicals and things like that over the years. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because on 2 nights in September, it's basically a black-only identifying audience, basically saying that you and I, if you are fair-skinned or, light-skinned, whatever, are simply not welcome. They're not basically saying you can't come in, but really they're only looking for a black identifying audience. Now, I don't know about you, if this creates more division than ever, it's ridiculous. It's like turning it back years, isn't it, with the Rosa Parks thing. As I've often said here on the show, I genuinely don't see colour. What I do see, and many people will notice this about me, is I either like you or I don't. There's no two ways about it. We all make opinions very quickly. And the bottom line is I'm an easygoing soul. And I think, for people to sort of say, I don't speak to that person because they're this. I've got chums in all nationalities, from India, Asian world, whatever, coloured. But I don't, it's just if they make you laugh and you become good chums. That's what it's about, really, isn't it? We're all people at the end. It doesn't really matter what skin colour you are. So I never understand that thing, Working in theatre in the entertainment world, you learn from a very early age. Everybody's different. It's just if you personally get on with them. And that's what makes friendships in the end. A bit like what we've got here in our community. You know what I'm saying? So I do feel now that this is going to be very problematic for Sir Cameron Mackintosh, because he's going to have to draw a line under this particular issue. It's his theatre. He makes that decision. This is certainly building into a mega negative. And the bottom line for him is, does he pull it? And will they then say, no, we're not going to do that anymore? Is this a huge publicity stunt for a play that nobody had heard of until this particular story came out? Either way, it looks like Sir Cameron, his team, his theatres, could become their very own phantom with a very much empty theatre. We put a call into Cameron Mackintosh Limited today and said, so if I wanted to book tickets on that night, would I be welcome or not? Bottom line is, nobody truly could answer when eventually they got back. You understand how this works now. Either way, I'd love to know what you think to this terrible segregation that's creeping back in here in the 21st century. Are we not all a little bit more mature right now? And do you agree everybody should be welcome no matter what background you're from? As for friends, you make them, you lose them, but hopefully you learn something from each other. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.